It was a cool Tuesday night as I twisted the paper clip in the lock of the front door, attempting to quietly gain entry into the house. Mr. Pietrov had passed away 4 days ago, and the house had been locked up officially, windows boarded, and caution tape covering the doors. Someone had made it a point to keep everyone out from stealing his possessions. That's why I was here. Stealing from the deceased is a victimless crime, and since I had never seen anyone visit Mr. Pietrov in the 20 years I had lived nearby, I assumed he had no family. I convinced myself that poor Pietrov's belongings would probably be sold at an auction or taken by the bank, and being in a financially tough spot right now, I could use the money more than they could. Still, the obituary in my pocket felt like a heavy weight as the lock finally gave way with a loud click and the door creaked open. The interior of the house was pitch black, and when I flipped the light switch, I realized that the power company had likely shut off the electricity. No problem, that's why I brought a flashlight. Switching on the light, I found myself in an average suburban house with paintings on the walls, regular furniture, trinkets scattered on desks and tables, and some poorly done wallpaper. Despite the rather unremarkable appearance of the house's interior, I believed there would be some valuable items hidden away. I made my way to the bedroom, scanning the walls for hidden safes along the way. Carefully, I pulled out drawers, finding and taking rings, a small roll of cash, and the 2 or 3 electronics I could easily carry. Everything seemed fine. After giving the bedroom one last look, I returned to the living room. A faint moonbeam shone through one of the windows, and a gentle breeze rustled the curtains. I tiptoed into the kitchen hoping to find... I froze. Moonlight? Breeze? When I had entered the house, the windows were nailed shut, boarded up, and the room was pitch black. I was certain there had been no other source of light or air when I opened the door. Carefully, very, very carefully, I shifted my weight and turned back toward the living room. The curtains remained still, but the window was undeniably open. The hairs on my arm stood on end. I covered the flashlight with my hand, allowing the moonbeam to dimly light the room. From the bedroom came a creak, followed by the distinct sound of someone collapsing onto a bed. A million thoughts raced through my mind. Had someone had the same idea as I did? Was I caught, and now the police were inside waiting for me? Was Mr. Pietrov really dead? With trembling hands, I reached into my pocket, grasping the obituary with 2 fingers and slowly pulling it out. I unfolded the paper painstakingly, trying to minimize the rustling sounds. Straining to read the words in the poor light, I didn't fully comprehend what I was reading at first.
It is with great sadness in our hearts that we inform you of the passing of Jake Miller on Wednesday, April 18th.
The rest of the page went blank. Or rather, I stopped seeing. Jake Miller. That's my name. April 18th. That's tomorrow's date. I was holding a copy of my own obituary in my neighbor's house, which I had been robbing. I had to get out of this house. I cautiously stepped back into the living room, heading for the door. The bedroom light turned on. I ran. I rushed out of the door, slamming it shut behind me on my way out. My breath caught in my lungs, and I tasted blood as I sprinted away. I didn't stop running until I was behind my own double-locked door. In my haste, I must have dropped the obituary because it wasn't in my pocket when I reached home. I couldn't sleep the whole night. I drove by Mr. Pietrov's house this morning. All the windows were still boarded up, just like last night. The doors were covered in caution tape, forming perfect little X's, which was strange because I was certain I hadn't retaped them when I panicked last night. As I turned the corner to drive away, I screeched to a halt. A shiver ran down my spine. Written on the side of the house in scarlet letters were 3 words.
You're next, Jake.